everybody that doesn't know, this is Big Pey. Can I call you Peyton?
Hello. Yeah, you can call me Peyton.
Peyton. He's Big Pey on YouTube. I've been watching his channel for a while now. The developer that I'm working with on our Cardano pool introduced me to him. You put out amazing content when it comes to Cardano, like about the fundamentals of the project. I love that you say I don't do price predictions and things like that. You've been putting out content on it for years. You've been a great help in starting our pool and everything like that. And I get so many questions about Cardano and cryptocurrency. I'm so thankful to have you on to kind of like introduce you to the chat and like get out some information that I'm probably not as good at getting out on Cardano and cryptocurrency in general. So just right off the rip, I want to thank you for coming on and kind of give that little intro to the
Yeah,
chat.
no problem, man. And I really appreciate you having me on. And I got to say, I'm really excited. I haven't really done really much I haven't gone on other people's podcasts really other than the Cardano effect, so I appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to come on your stream and teach some more people about Cardano, so I
Dude,
appreciate it.
it's awesome, man, and I love the enthusiasm. So I wanted to kind of like for everybody that doesn't know, and for stuff I don't know either, just a little introduction from yourself, where you grew up, how you kind of got into crypto, educational background, stuff like that.
Yeah. So 1 second, I wanted to make sure I could
Yeah,
pull
for
up
sure.
this real quick.
Yeah,
And then someone said the Big Pay volume is loud. Let me fix that for you,
I
brother.
I can do that on my end and fix the audio.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it should be much better now.
Cool. So you said what got me into crypto, right? My introduction.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, kind of where you grew up, education level, and kind of how you found cryptocurrency. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in Ohio, really just a small town. It was kind of like really a shitty city called Springfield. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I met a lot of cool people there. I didn't really meet anybody in my life that was interested in technology or cryptocurrency. It was kind of all my thing. But I found my passion for technology and computers when I was really young. But it started with video games. I used to play, like when I was 10 years old. I used to play the Xbox 360, and I was just obsessed with it. I mean, it was so weird how obsessed with it I was. I knew all the settings and the settings on the Xbox. And eventually, my family ended up getting me a laptop when I was 12 years old. And then from then, I realized like, oh wow, there's so much more to this tech stuff than the shitty UI that the Xbox has. And I started getting into Minecraft, and video games are what led me to the tech stuff. And then I realized at 12 years old, I'm like, wait, people make money from hosting Minecraft servers, right? So I was like, wait, I could just build my own Minecraft server and have passive income from people donating to me from hosting this Minecraft server, and it's me doing what I love. And so that got me into the server stuff. That got me into learning a little bit about Linux, and it was all so simple. I mean, it was so simple that the hardest thing you had to do was just edit JSON files and kind of make your own parameters and download plugins. So from then, I realized that it was time for me to build a computer. So around 14 or 15, I built my own computer by saving up money, and I was doing like Craigslist deals and stuff. I was essentially saying like I would find a part for cheap and then try to sell it to make like 50 bucks in the middle to save up for like a $500 computer. And then I ended up building my own computer. And then from then I just played a bunch of video games and learned more and more about tech stuff. But eventually someone on that Minecraft server, they sent me Bitcoin. They said, hey man, would you like some Bitcoin for a donation? And I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is, but there's no cost for me to actually accept the Bitcoin, and there's no cost for me to provide the value that they're paying for in the first place because it's a donation. So I was like, okay, I'll take that, man. So I set up a wallet, and that was my first ever interaction with it. But of course, I didn't keep the wallet. I didn't write down the phrase or anything, but that's my very first interaction. And then when I was 16, my buddy introduced me to mining, right? And I already had a GPU, and I love technology. So I'm like, wait, there's an incentive for me to just keep buying more and more new tech and keep mining. And that then became my thing. I saved up all my money and I just bought, and this is, again, I was 16 years old. So I bought GPU rigs, right? I just set up like two GPUs at the start, and it was like a 1080 and a 1070. And I was so hype about it. And I was like, and I would wake up every morning and check it. I'd go to bed listening to it at night. But for me, it wasn't the cryptocurrency thing yet. It wasn't. It was just the tech and the mining. I'm like, dude, I'm making passive income from these things. It's coming in, but I didn't care about the cryptocurrency aspect yet, and then really I started seeing how it was growing because no one had really crypto pilled me yet. No one had told me about financial freedom and all the ideologies that kind of suck you in. I was just like, oh, I'm making money from doing something I love, you know. So, and then 2017 comes around, and then you get all these mad gains. So then that starts like picking the entrepreneurial part of your brain, and then the passive income part. You're like, okay, there's more to this stuff. And then I started watching people like Charles Hoskinson, Andre Antonopoulos, and then those people are kind of who crypto pilled me. So then in 2017, I found Cardano, and it was through Charles's whiteboard video, like everywhere else, and that's what sucked me in. I kept mining, but all of my mining profits I traded for ADA, right? So I literally mine whatever the most profitable coin was and trade it for ADA because I felt that I had missed Bitcoin and I had missed Ethereum, and Cardano was it was going to take longer and it was going to take some patience, but that was finally going to be my time to actually contribute, and be a part of like the founding parts of an ecosystem. So even back in 2017, I was planning on making a stake pool. I was planning on doing all of this stuff, and um, that's what I did. Is I just tried to really make as much income I could in those 3 years to really wait for the next bull market, because I turned like I turned like $500 into 10,000 and then watched it go all the way back down, right? And instead of like thinking, oh, crypto's a scam or this is never going to happen, something about that excited me. I'm like, this is my time to actually build up for the next one, because I do believe in this stuff. I do believe in the ideologies now, and I do believe this is going to be the future. And right now is going to be the greatest opportunity in my lifetime, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's kind of funny too how like you said like you hadn't really been like, crypto pilled yet. It's like when you're younger and I kind of felt the same way. You haven't really like run into the troubles of the financial system that's out there yet, you know what I mean? And like the barriers that get put in front of you. And the more and more you like run into these financial banking barriers and all this stuff, like even like investing in a small business, like I invested in a friend's microbrewery down here. Well, there's all these
Mm.
rules. If I'm not an accredited investor, I can't get in. It's like, who's to say what I want to do with my money and stuff like that? And like getting held back like that is what kind of pushed me towards decentralization. And then you get into all the news of everything rolling, it just kind of pushes us further and further, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's what you have to have those experiences to really be interested in the first place. Because when I ask my friends, I'm like, I start to try to crypto pill them too. I'm like, hey man, this is financial freedom. This is the future. There's all these, I mean, they're inflating the dollar and they're giving it to their buddies, just going into the deep, deep, dark details. And then they're like, they just don't get it because they're in college. They've never had to save up for things. They've never had to invest in a company. They've never thought really about like essentially gamifying finance and doing it the best way you can. So for most people, at least that I talk to at my age level, they just haven't had the experiences and the barriers, like you mentioned, to then get interested in it.
And what's your like? This is a great segue into question two. What's your like elevator pitch on what blockchain is and Bitcoin?
So really, it depends on who it is, right? The elevator pitch depends on who I'm pitching it to. Um, really, I want to say I honestly believe that this is our internet, right? This is our revolution. I mean, this is truly a financial revolution to do with technology, and what we're doing is we're essentially increasing the velocity of money and the velocity of all assets in the world, right? So it really depends on who you're talking to and how much they know. But if they know a little bit, they know how blockchain works at the very base, or at least they know, oh, it's a decentralized currency. That's what I tell them, because most of them know, like, oh, Bitcoin, it's a decentralized, there's a bunch of nodes that all process transactions. If they know that, then I tell them what's next. I tell them about third generation cryptocurrencies and DeFi, and essentially the increase of the velocity of money that we're heading towards.
That makes a lot of sense. That absolutely makes a lot of sense. And do you like so you won't introduce somebody to Cardano first if they don't know what cryptocurrency is.
Yeah.
It's
So
a hard
yeah,
place to start.
exactly. So someone fresh, I think the best way to explain it to him is like, I actually did this a few weeks ago with somebody, and we recorded it because I had this idea. I'm like, let's do a podcast for somebody new that's never heard about cryptocurrency, but they're interested, right? So the way I explained it to them was, imagine if there was just 5 people and we all had a piece of paper and we had a finite supply that we wrote on the paper, right? I mean, we can call it Rand coin, and there's 100 Rand coins between 5 of us, and we divide that by 5, you get 20 coins per person. Well, the start of the ledger, the genesis part of the ledger, because that's what it is, a genesis block is determining where the coins start, and that's the first ever block. Well, the genesis ledger, the start of it, essentially, you have 20, I have 20, the other 3 people have 20. Well, all a blockchain is a block is data, and within that block, the data that's in that block is transactions, right? So if we compare this to the paper scenario, the ledger, all it is every block is, okay, Rand sent Pey 10, this guy sent this guy 5, and then every block is literally just essentially minting that in the chain, and it's immutable and it can never be disrupted, right? So it's just a decentralized way, a decentralized network of people, right? Because that's what cryptocurrency is, and that's what money is. Truly, is money is a social network, right? It's a way of allocating labor. So imagine if we took that, instead of having centralized entities control it, I mean, we decentralized it, right? And we had incentive models for the people to process the transactions. So in a way, it's immutable, you know. But that's kind of the easiest way I think to describe cryptocurrencies. Just a piece of paper, man. It's just a ledger.
That's a
You know.
great description. I was actually trying to get that out to somebody in our interview yesterday, to Arlie, and the way you described it is a lot more eloquent and probably easier understandable than I did yesterday. So that's probably good for a lot of the people listening, to get that out like that. You know what I mean? And then, so you found Cardano like after mining. Like, what? I guess to explain for people, what's the difference between proof of work and proof of stake? What's your explanation on that?
Sure. So really, they're very similar in a way, but they're very different, right? So proof of work was the start, right? And essentially, what you have to do is it started off with CPUs, and these CPUs essentially have to just complete math problems, right? And the more math problems you can complete, you essentially get like a ticket. It's like a little lottery ticket. And the more math problems you complete, you get the more lottery tickets. And then essentially the blockchain is just looking for your number, right? For completing that algorithm. And it just, depending on how many tickets you have, the more likely you are to be picked to choose transactions, right? So proof of work is just using computer power to get more and more tickets. And then when you have enough tickets, they're like, oh, this guy, we're picking him. And the way that works now is it started off with CPUs, then it went on to GPUs, right? And then it went on to ASICs. But the issue with proof of work and why we're moving towards proof of stake and why so many of us have a problem with it is specifically because it's a centralized entity making these ASICs. You know, there's this old story that my buddy told me about these guys named Butterfly Labs. And my buddy actually had 10% of the mining network for Bitcoin. They were mining 10%. They were completing 10% of those math problems that I was telling you about. So what happens when you're completing 10% of the math problems? You're getting 10% of the blocks. And what does that mean? When you're getting 10% of the blocks, you're getting 10% of the transactions, right? So you're getting paid for that. Well, these new guys came out, and that was with GPUs. These new guys came out and they said, all right, we're going to make these ASICs, and they're specialized miners, right? Well, the issue with that is nobody else can make them. So what they did is they said, all right, you guys all give us $60,000 and we'll give you 3 of these machines. You have to pre-order them. We're going to make them and then we're going to ship them to you. So what they did was they took the $60,000 from them and then made the machines and then just never sent them. And then when the people called them, they said, hey, can I get this? And then,
oh my God.
So they said, hey, can I get this? Can I get this miner? Can I get this miner? Oh, no, we're so sorry. We're testing them. We're testing them. If you would like a refund, we can give you a refund. So they got essentially crowdfunding from everyone. And then when people asked for their miners, they would say, oh, we can refund you. But so my buddy actually flew out there, right? Because he was pissed. It's $60,000. He just wanted his damn miner. Flies out there, walks in the building. He hears them mining in the background. He walks in there. You know how loud them things are if you've ever been around a miner. And they just had hundreds of them mining, right? And 2 years later, 2 years after he gave them the money, they finally sent him the ASICs when they were already outdated. So that's the issue with proof of work. You're still relying on an entity to provide you the power to run the network, right? So let's fast forward to the next evolution, right, which is proof of stake. And this is a lot harder to explain. And I'm probably going to learn a little bit more about explaining it in this interview because it's just it's complicated, right?
I try to learn every
So
time I say it myself.
exactly, man. I'm going to learn more just from explaining it today. So so okay, proof of stake. So now imagine you have this finite supply, right? Let's just say the finite supply is 1,000,000. So we have nice numbers, right?
Mhm.
Instead of having computer power be the hash power, right? Because that's what it is. More computing power for Bitcoin is called hash power. The more hash power you have, the more blocks you get. Well, with ADA, right? Let's say there's 1,000,000 ADA. The more each ADA, each token in the system is hash power in itself, right? That's what determines if you get a block or not. So let's now imagine that I start a stake pool, right? All a stake pool is a node. I mean, all a miner is a node, but it has computing power attached to it. And that computing power is completing the algorithm. But whereas proof of stake, it's another node, which a node is just a server. And that server is a stake pool with a name on it. So my stake pool is Bloom. And what you can do with your ADA, your hash power, is you can essentially pick somebody to do your percentage of the transactions in the network. So the reason I said 1,000,000 ADA to make the number simple is imagine my pool Bloom gets 10% of the ADA in the network to pick Bloom, to delegate to it, right? All they're saying is this node is going to be the one who processes the transactions per rate of percentage of the whole network for me. So if Bloom has 10% of the ADA delegated to it, then they're going to mint 10% of the blocks and confirm 10% of the transactions in the network. That's proof of stake. It's taking out the hash power problem. It's taking out the centralized entity problem and moving on to more of a game theory thing, right? And essentially what my node does, and at the base level, and I think this will help you guys understand it more, my stake pool, what it does is based on the amount of people that picked it, it has, so even if no one's picked it, what my stake pool does every 20 seconds is it saves the blocks to its files and says, is this my block? Every second it says, is this my block? Is this my block? Is this my block? And all that happens when you guys pick it is I get more. Is this my block? Fuck yes, it is. Am I allowed to say that on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Cuss away.
Okay. So yeah, it says, fuck yes, this is it. This is my block. And that's what the node does too. When you watch it, like in the CLI, it's like it does colors and shit. It's like ding, that's the one, right? And then what happens when it's blocked, right? I've been waiting so long, I've been checking every second for a day. What happens is that node is the one that then processes that block, right?
Makes complete sense. Makes complete sense. So one of the things, like a lot of the questions I get from people is like, as a smaller pool over here, and somebody who wants to start a pool, I actually have a lot of people emailing me, and I'm like, yo, I consult with Pey. You need to check out Big Pey. You need to check out Bloom Pool. This is who we consulted with to do our thing. But like people ask me all the time, like, what do you think for up and coming stake pools to survive? Like, what do they need to be working on the most, like to retain delegators? Is it security? Is it pledge, having a high pledge? What's like the most important aspect of starting a pool to you?
Marketing.
Marketing.
That's that, man. Obviously, you need to have security and you need to have like good Linux experience, know what you're doing, make sure you know how to problem solve, make sure you have proper checks and balances set up. So where if your node were to go down, it's going to be properly fixed in time to check for the block. Like that stuff's all important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But having the best security, having the best nodes, that's really an afterthought to the marketing. I mean, it truly is. It's sad to say that, but
Mm-hmm.
some of the best staple operators that I've met and that I've learned a lot from, that have taught me a lot of the stuff that I needed to know to have some of the best nodes in the game. They're not doing well because they focused entirely on that, right? So what truly matters in a proof of stake system is your marketing, how you can provide value and how you can get people to essentially pick your node to process transactions for them. So whatever value that you provide that makes them do that, whether it's a YouTube channel or whether it's a calls, or an application that you're trying to make or a course that you're trying to sell or anything, right? a reason for people to pick your pool and say, hey, yeah, I'll give this guy a couple percent of my rewards because I trust his servers, I trust him, and he's providing value in a certain way, right? And I think that's the most important thing for people to realize, that really the servers and the Linux, and the people call it programming, but it's really not. It's just Linux. That's all kind of an afterthought, really. What comes is the marketing. That's what's most important.
That's cool. And I want to run it back a little bit. Latik's puts a good question out there. Bitcoin mining still behind in terms of efficiency, seems very unsustainable. And A3 Voices also says a lot of electricity comes from, fossil fuels and things, which I think is also a big issue with Bitcoin, and like how much electricity and money is just burned trying to mine blocks over there. I guess let's go into Bloom Pool. This is one of the amazing things about your resume coming on here. You in all your videos, I love that you guys say that you mine the eighth block in Cardano, and like you guys have been around forever and you're gonna be around for the future. I love that every time you say it. When was that? When was the eighth block? When did Bloom Pool turn on?
So Bloompool turned on. I posted a tweet about this a few days ago, because it says it when you're on like the instances. So Bloompool first turned on 7 months ago, right? But it was on, I think, for a week or two before the first blocks actually started coming. And man, that is something I'm really proud of, man, because I've been into the Cardano stuff for years, and I mean, it was such a surreal. And I did it during a live stream too. It was with my partner Anthony at Bloom, and we did a
What?
live stream live, and we watched the first ever blocks. And I mean, dude, I was like shaking. I was so happy. I mean, if you see my face on it, it was just like I was almost crying, man. I was so happy. But we did a live stream and we watched the block feed come, and we were just watching it, and we were so hyped. We're like, dude, because I think we at the time we had about 2% of the network, right? So 2% of the ADA stake was in Bloom. So I'm like, theoretically, there is a 2% chance that we get the first ever block, right? I'm like, how
Yeah.
cool would that be if we got that live, right? so so that was the mission. That was the mission. But then it ended up being the eighth block. And I'm like, dude, I'm still so happy about that. We're in the top 10 blocks ever. We did it on a live stream. And I think that was, if I had to say the day, I want to say it was the very beginning of August, maybe like August 3rd, but obviously it's in the blockchain history. So you could look that up real fast.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And like, how many public pools were around at that time?
At that time, I want to say there were probably 400 to 500, maybe 600 tops.
Oh wow. So in like it hasn't even been a year and there's like almost 1700 pools or something right now.
Yeah, yeah. That's what last time I checked, it's around 1700.
It's crazy to think that you started this like last year. You started Bloompool and like how much the system's grown, but also still how early we are in all of this. Like it still seems so early, and there's a lot of room for everybody to grow within the ecosystem. Do you have any thoughts like outside of Bloompool, like as smart contracts come in on like dApps or anything you guys want to build or anything like that? Or
Well, this is probably my first time saying this, but this is kind of like, I think the next evolution for me is actually providing value from a software perspective, at the protocol level. But as to what, I'm not sure. I would have to start off with something simple. Um, like even something basic. Like maybe some sort of like a lottery system. Where people send ADA to a smart contract, and then when they send that ADA to the smart contract, they can pull it out at any time. But then they're entered into a lottery where they get, a random guy wins $10,000, right? So what I would do is start off with a simple smart contract, develop software, push it out, and then really learn what it's like to operate a software company and interact with users, and then do something much bigger. You know what I mean? That's kind of my plans with that. But I am going to be building a Bloom token for our delegates, and it's kind of like a loyalty thing. If you've like delegated to us, I haven't got the exact details down, but what I'm looking at right now is about 8 epochs. If you've delegated to us for 8 epochs, you're going to get a token for that, and then you're just essentially going to register and say, "Yeah, I've been here for 8 epochs," and then there's just going to be an airdrop, and then the airdrop's going to go out to everybody that's been there for that long. So that's kind of the near term. And then the short term, like I said, is just actually developing a protocol that is much simpler, that's not value add. And then past that, I really want to develop something that can actually help people and actually contribute to the ecosystem, because that's a lot more, right, than just running a YouTube channel and a stake pool. I actually want to contribute at a much centerpiece layer, you know what I mean? Like a much more personal level.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how did yourself and your partner like meet before you guys started Balloon Pool? Were you guys already friends?
You'll like this. You'll like this. Discord.
What?
Yeah, yeah, Discord, man. He reached out to me on Discord, and he said, "Hey, man, I would like to partner with you." And I replied, and this is, I have a bit of a techie side of me, right? And the techie side is, I don't want to work with anybody. I can do this all on my own. Blah 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 blah. And that's essentially what I was like with first with him. He was like, "Hey, man, we should work on this together." And I was like, "No." And then he kind of just kept pressing and pressing. He's like, "Man, this is what we could do. This is what I have to offer." And like, blah, 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 blah. And then eventually I was like, "Yeah, man, we should do it. We should work together on this shit." And from then on out, we've probably talked every day on Discord, just working on this shit. Bloom was built on Discord, I mean,
That's awesome, man. The internet is
isn't
an
it crazy to
amazing
hear?
place, dude. The internet is an amazing place how people can come together from
And that's
across
what
the world.
I was still sketch about it, right? So I flew down there. I flew down there to meet him because he lives in Florida, So I flew down there to meet him, and after I met him, I'm like, okay, he's definitely a cool dude. So, but yeah, I mean, who would have thought that? I was going to Ohio State. Yeah, we didn't go into this, but my education level, I was going to Ohio State for computer science and engineering. And I was doing it specifically for one reason. I knew I could learn all this shit on my own, right? But I wanted the networking there. I wanted to be able to talk to certain professors and meet other people. And I didn't get any of that, right? And it's funny how much in the last 6 months, the network that I've built, the people that I've met from Telegram and Discord and the YouTube channel, right? I mean, it's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. And I actually didn't finish. I got my associates, and then I dropped out. Actually, last August, or not August, I dropped out last July to do all of this because I felt it, man. I felt it in my soul that this was going to be it, right? This is the thing, and the only way that I would be able to do this is if I dropped out and did it full time, right? Which is the craziest thing ever. It really is. I mean, think about, I was going to a nice university for a good degree and I was doing well. I had a good GPA. I was definitely going to be able to graduate and get a good job doing computer science and engineering. And I dropped out for my YouTube channel that had probably 1,000 subs at the time to do this stake pool thing with Cardano. I mean, it's hilarious, man.
It's grown like crazy, dude. In the few months that I've been watching since my developer turned me onto your channel, I have not only learned so much, and it's probably your channel and Charles Hoskinson specifically are the channels that allow me to hold ADA. Like when I can't technically understand something, you explain it really well, and you're quick with the videos. You know what I mean? So you guys are the two people that I jump on immediately when something's happening. I'm like, all right, what's Big Pey got to say about it? Has Charles done an AMA on it? You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I go for my information. So that's
That's
why
usually who I watch mostly too, is Charles, man.
we were watching Charles this morning on the interview he did with David Lee and stuff like that. There was a lot of
Oh, I
really
was so excited for that, man. The David
tons
Lee
of
one.
tons of good information in there that he went deep on. You know what I mean? And that was like important to me. So one thing I get asked, and this is kind of for my own explanation in the future, is I get asked by people like, our pool is small right now. We only have about 400,000 ADA in it or something like that, and it says that we're like 20% to get a block. So I'm assuming like one out of every 5 epochs we should probably get a block. Is that because like everybody our stake and our general delegation of stake is so low that when we do get a block, the rewards are so big, like they're still going to get their 5% or 6% a year, or is that not necessarily true? I'm trying to figure out if that's true. If it's not, I don't think we have enough data on our end to
Yeah,
kind of
so no, I
see.
can answer that question easily, man. So there's one thing that's going to get you. So, right, you are going to get your A to fine, and it's going to be the same amount as you would normally get. But there's this issue right now, and it's too high. And I've been saying this for the past 6 months that we should probably change it. there's this
Hmm.
parameter called the minimum cost per epoch, and that's 340 ADA, as you've seen, which is a lot now. That's almost $340. Is
Yeah.
whereas when it was set, it was set at 8 cents, right? So it wasn't much back then. Um, but what that does is, let's say you get that block, and then the block rewards for that is 1,200 ADA, and 1,200 ADA for everybody in that pool is going to actually be right around that 5 to 5.5% mark, right?
Hmm.
Well, what happens is 340 is subtracted from that,
Hmm.
right? So what's left over is then distributed out to everybody, right? So to earn the 5 to 5.5%, you're going to need a little bit more stake to then pay that minimum cost per epoch, because it really does suck up a lot of that ADA until we have a protocol level change where we change that to maybe instead like 120 or something, or 170, like, because it really does eat up a large portion. And that was one of the big things I said even back in July for small pools, because my pool could charge higher fees and make more than a smaller pool, because that 340 just eats so much of the rewards.
Hmm.
So I've been pushing that for a while, but I think that's going to change.
And what do you think? So then, for somebody like us, like, what do you think is a proper pool size of pledge that we should get to where that kind of
So you're not
balances
really
out?
looking for pledge, you're looking for total stake,
Just
right? So
total,
just
yeah, total
delegation, right? So
delegated
the
pledge.
the first milestone I would say for you is about a million to 1.5 million, and that's when you're going to get to the one block per epoch range, right?
Hmm.
Because that's where you want to be, because you're paying delegates every 5 days, you're getting paid every 5 days, right? So that's the first milestone. But then past that, just maybe 2 to 3 million ADA, and then you're not worrying about that 340 too much, and it's just, you're getting paid every 5 days, so life's good, and then you can work up from there.
That makes sense. And like I've always told people on our channel, just like you guys did with Bloom, I always tell people when I'm showing them we consulted with you guys, we keep our fees. Our fees are at 5% right now. And I noticed you guys just lowered them to 4. Is that because like ADA prices have gone so high now that it's not necessary? And I always tell people I'd rather start out high and be able to lower it for you, because I can never go up. If I tell you we have to go to 6%, you're leaving. Like I just lose the customer or the delegate. You know what I mean? So what made you guys go down to 4%? And do you see a future of being able to continuously lowering fees as ADA
Um,
goes up?
so that was the same thoughts. I think I might have told you this in the consultation too. That exact thing, man. I'm like, you can't raise them. You know what I mean? But that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of our thoughts in the beginning. Is we'll start off at a percentage that we think is reasonable, because I mean, when I was designing all of this stuff, like kind of the parameters and stuff, I mean, we were at 5 or 6 cents, right? So I was like, if we do absolutely incredible, we're not going to be making shit at 5 cents, right? 5 6 cents,
Right.
so I was like, 5% seems reasonable. But the issue is, I think most people in the network aren't going to charge that much, and we're going to have this race to the bottom at zero.
Mm-hmm.
um, but I was like, but at the same time, if we ever need to lower them, we can, to attract more delegation, we'll have room. But from the beginning, we've kind of always thought about lowering it to 4. We actually did a thank you to our delegates in December, where we gave them 4% for a month. And then everyone was really happy about it. And that's, like you said, the price has gone up so much that we were just like, yeah, we can lower it. And then also, as we mentioned earlier, that minimum cost per epoch, as that's coming down, you actually charge more fees, right? Because if you think about it, if you have a tall pool here that's making 340 per epoch, and you cut that down into 2 pools, well, you're getting 340 twice now, right? So I was doing the math, and I realized that we're actually charging more fees than we did at the beginning, right? It's not a whole percent more, right? But it is more. And I was like, we'll just lower it to 4%, and just as a thank you to everyone who supported us thus far. And I mean, yeah, we can operate at 4% just fine. As far as what we're going to do in the future, I don't know. It really depends on the protocol parameters. Where's a not going to go? Where is, because what happens if pledges incentivize so much to where you have to have a million ADA or 2 million ADA in the pool for you to actually earn enough rewards to attract delegation? Well, what am I going to do then? I'm going to raise my fees, because you have to make enough to account for having $2 million locked up, right? So
Right.
really, Bloom's protocol parameters and design and pledge all of this is designed based on the market and based on what we feel is valid for our delegates and what is the best, right? What is the best way to go about this? So there, as far as where we're going to go in the future, I have no idea, man. I like where it's at right now at 4%. I think we're going to be there for a while, and I think that's a very reasonable fee. I thought 5% was reasonable as well, and I think 4% is obviously even more reasonable. And but if you look at it from the delegate perspective, when they move from 5% to 4%, they're going to make like, depending on how, unless you have millions, you're going to make like a couple more dollars every 5 days. You
Hmm.
know, most of the time less than that, like 50 cents more every 5 days. Whereas I just had a 20% decrease in profit. Right. So that's usually how I try to tell delegates to look at it, and it is a big thing for us to just knock off 20%, but it is a thank you to you guys, because you have supported us thus far. And we didn't think we were going to do this well, so thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. And I cannot wait till multi-pool delegation comes out because I'm definitely, I got to put it all in the rare pool at first. But when multi-pool
Mm-hmm.
delegation comes out, some's coming back to bloom. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man. See, now I wouldn't blame you, dude. All my aid has been delegated to Bloom. I mean, imagine if I was like, yeah, I operate Bloom, but I delegate to 0%. You
And
know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what do you think about like all these other pools with like super low fees? I see people that are like kind of high marketing like 0% fees. Like, do you think those pools are gonna last? I've
Well, right
seen.
now they can because that minimum cost per epoch is so high. I mean,
Mm.
if they can just suck up that $340 per 5 days, I bet a lot of them are happy because I mean, do the math on that. That's six. So there's 6 epochs in a month. So you can just take $340 and times that by six,
So
right?
the 340 is a fee for the pool that everybody's taking.
It's not the
That's
fee from the pool; it's a fee for the rewards, right? So let's say your pool per epoch makes 10,000 ADA.
right,
That 340 is subtracted and it's paid to the operator. So
right.
if an operator charges 0% and
They're
gets
still
people to
getting the
come,
340. Yeah,
exactly. Whereas back then, I'm like, man, you're an idiot. You're doing this at 10 cents. You're making 34 bucks per epoch. Like, wow,
right.
thanks, man. You're making
You're
all of us charge less. You're an asshole. Whereas
right.
now they're making a killing. Dude, you know how happy I would have been 6 months ago to make 340, per week from a pool? I'd have been like, hell yeah. This is sick. This is the best passive income ever. I'm a genius, you know? So that's
Oh,
why. That's why you can charge zero.
that makes a lot of sense now. I always thought the 340 like went to the network, and that was then again a fee that we as a pool operator paid to mine
Mm-mm,
the block.
mm-mm.
Like
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's a fee for the delegates that's paid back to the operator,
I'm
right?
just the marketing side over here, just the guy in my basement smoking a little bit of cannabis, streaming. That's all I do.
That's why you have me on here, man. Now you know.
Exactly. I'm here learning too, dude. I'm learning too. So that's good to know. So then fees do for now have room to come down, but I guess you don't want to lower the percentage too much because if that 340 ever gets lowered in the future, then
Yeah, which
that
which to be
percentage goes
honest
up.
with you, I think it's going to change next month. I
Okay.
really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I,
And
I think I've just been seeing little signs, little things happening. I think March we're going to get a big change to the network. I think we're going to see K equals 1,000. I also think that we're going to see the minimum cost per epoch lowered much lower. But yeah,
that's good to know. That's good to know. And then we have smart contracts coming and stuff like that in the next month.
so not in the next month. We're getting multi assets in the next
Multi
month, and
multi
what that
assets.
is. So you know what that is?
Not really, but it's convenient you say that because chat is like talking about Rand coin right now. So I'm
Hell
assuming
yeah,
I'm
hell yeah.
assuming that's like
So
creating a
so
coin.
Rand coin is on its way, right? It's going to be mooning very soon. Um, so what multi assets is, right? So if we look back at Ethereum, the way Ethereum worked was you essentially make coins out of these smart contracts, but none of the coins are like Ether, right? They're
Hmm.
all just these little shit coins they're written in a smart contract that often have bugs and errors that will have issues. Well, what Cardano decided to do was make a native token asset standard, which essentially means that any token is going to have first class real estate on the Cardano protocol, the same way that ADA does, right? So it's not, oh, ADA is the one, the hottest coin out there, and then everything else is the shitty smart contract coin. It's actually ADA, and then right next to that is an ETH on the Cardano protocol, right? And they're both can be used as fees. They both can be used, and we have to vote on this stuff, right? But what you can actually do starting the 23rd, and I think that's the first date, and if there's a delay, it'll be the 1st of March, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, you can actually mint your own tokens as native assets on the Cardano blockchain. And you can just do that in Linux. I can mint you some RAM coins and send them over. But that means you can have other coins in your Daedalus wallet and your Roy wallet. So Cardano protocol then becomes a multi-asset blockchain, right? To where if another protocol, let's for example, Bitcoin, has some sort of contract to lock up the Bitcoin, you can actually have Bitcoin on top of Cardano in your Daedalus wallet. You can have Ethereum on top of Cardano in your Daedalus wallet, right? So it's multi assets is what we're heading towards, and this is where you start to get the crazy stuff like ICOs and people building their own incentive models on top of Cardano. We have the Liquid protocol. You even have Singularity Nets making their own tokens and coming over, right? So this is kind of the start of Goguen, whereas smart contracts are going to be coming in April. And in April, when smart contracts come, that's when life gets good, right? Because then you're going to be able to do all the crazy shit like DeFi and everything.
Right. Okay. So I didn't know that. All right. So now that's a little bit more of the progress. Let's get into the three little birds that everybody's been hearing about, man. So when we're talking about multi asset stuff like that, everybody always asks me, like, why are we not on Coinbase? Why is it so hard to get Cardano? And I'm the worst at explaining what IOHK is doing with Coinbase. Like, what exactly do we know they're already doing with them, if you know?
Yeah, great question. So they're doing a couple things already with Coinbase. So the first thing was this integration that I actually found from one of their websites. They do development updates, and I was reading the development update one week because there used to not be much news. I used to have to pick for content, so I was reading these development updates, and one of them said um, integration with Coinbase Rosetta v.01. I'm like, Coinbase Rosetta. So then I start digging, I'm like, what the hell is this Coinbase Rosetta? And then it's actually a way for people to use Coinbase to build their own tokens, right? So it's like an enterprise level software that'll allow Rand to get on there and make Rand coin using the Coinbase UI. So you can submit a picture, you can write out, oh, the token supply, you can do X, Y, and Z, you pay Coinbase a fee, and then they will put that token on the blockchain of your choice, whether it's Ethereum or ADA. And IOHK was actually being contracted to build this for them, right? So that's the first ever interaction I've ever heard. And then it gets me thinking, I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of ironic we have this multi-asset testnet coming out. And then right after that, we have smart contracts and Goggen's going to launch. Of course, if IOG is going to build their Coinbase Rosetta software, people are going to be able to mint Cardano tokens on top of Coinbase, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what else would that mean? So then the other thing they're doing, they announced this at the Shelley Summit back in July. They said that Coinbase Holdings, have you ever heard of Coinbase Holdings?
Yes.
Yeah, essentially like big companies do this because Coinbase has this like security level infrastructure with like some insurance and shit to where
Yeah.
you can allow them to hold all of your money because IOG has like 3 billion ADA, right? So that's a lot of money. I wouldn't want that in my safe, you know. So what they do is they give all that money to Coinbase, and then Coinbase takes 1% of the USD value a year to do that, but it's secure. And then if you look back at a lot of the past coins, there's a lot of other past coins that would start out as Coinbase holdings, and that gives Coinbase some liquidity, right? To actually be able to sell this at mass. And then a few months later, then they're listed, right? And then
Ah.
Coinbase has always said in the past of, they've also always said in the past of, oh, well, we want Cardano to be completely decentralized before we list it, right? Which is it's a load of crap. If you look at some of the coins they have on there, they're not fully decentralized, but Cardano will be fully decentralized on March 31st. So it seems like with Goguen coming out with multi-assets, with the three little birds, Charles in that video, and I made a video on this, he said there's a big liquidity event coming to Cardano this month. And to me, what the hell else is a big liquidity event other than Coinbase? A lot of people were saying Robinhood. No, no. A lot of people were saying Cash App. No, no. It's it's got to be Coinbase, man. It might not come this month. It might be in the next couple months, but to me, it just seems like all of the little details we've been getting. Charles, when he does live streams now, he does this. We've been making memes about it. We've been making memes about it on my Discord server, which is gifs of Charles doing this, and we're all like, he's cooking something up in there. He's hiding something. He's so excited about it that he sits there and does this the whole time, man. It's so funny, man.
I mean, it's got to be hard for him to like know everything going on and have to constantly like check himself from saying the wrong thing on the stream, you know?
Because think about it, for 3 years, everyone's always been like, "Yo, Charles, win Coinbase, man. This ADA shit sucks. We're not even on Coinbase, man." For 3 years, and finally, if he were to actually be told that it's coming, right, he would have to hold it in.
Yeah.
That'd be the hardest thing ever.
That's exactly what he's doing right now. And then like what is the thing with like Africa and an African country? I always want to say it's like Ethiopia, but I'm not sure and stuff. I don't really know what's going on there.
I'm not deep into the details of that, but I know from what Charles has said. So I watched this interview with Proof of Africa, which is a really small Cardano podcast, and they had the Africa like guy, the Input Output Global, which is the company that works on the Cardano blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
They have an Africa strategist guy. He's the guy that lives in Africa. He's talking to all these leaders. He's doing all this shit. Well, they had him on the podcast, which was so smart. I would like to have this guy on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just asked him. They're like, "So what do you guys got going on?" And he kind of like swayed away, and then the guy pressed again. He's like, "So what countries are you working with?" And the guy dropped like 5 countries that have never been talked about before. Like just went like bang, 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 bang. And one of them was Ethiopia. I forget the rest of them, but it was pretty legit stuff. And then after that, Charles releases a video and says, "Yeah, so it's all said and done. We're waiting on the PR people with this country to release it. So we're not going to say any more than this. But what I can confirm is that it's going to be 5 million users right off the bat, with a strategy to then expand out to other countries and more users as time goes on."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. Because if you know how many users we have on Cardano right now, I mean, it's not much. I mean, it's probably at a good estimate, 500,000, right? I mean, that's pretty high. It's a high estimate.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 million users overnight, right? I mean, that's a 10x increase in users. So
right. And a lot of the money on Cardano is just staked. Like I even noticed the block we got only had 2 transactions in it. So I think a lot of people when they're buying Cardano, they're staking it and it's sitting, which I think is really good for the price. I think the price of Cardano is held so well because people just stake it and set it away. What do you think about like how do you separate Cardano and the 5% reward and then like some of the DeFi yield farming scams that are out there? Like how do you separate those in your mind? You know what I mean? Or explain it to somebody.
So separate like Cardano from those.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question, man. I thought you were really asking me how to pick and choose the good DeFi projects, and I was like, I got no idea.
Yeah.
Have fun with that, man. But how to really explain the difference is, it's hard, man. I mean, you really kind of just have to talk about what Cardano is, right? I mean, it's a whole different cryptocurrency, and you have to essentially tell them that it's how you secure the network, it's how you process transactions, it's how you mine, right? It's not just this little protocol built on top of a cryptocurrency that's going to earn you 40% a year. It's its own cryptocurrency. And the way that you actually secure the network, the way that you mine, is by staking the ADA, and then you actually earn a sustainable rate at 5.25% a year. And I think that telling them the rate is a good way to start, because a lot of these DeFi protocols you're earning 20 to 50%. So
yeah, and it's like insane to hear that. It's like, okay, well then obviously the coin is not going. It has to be going down in value. Like there's no way it's you're getting 50% rewards on something.
Exactly, man. And that's how usually there's 2 ways I weed out bad cryptos or bad projects relative to good ones, and it's the rate of return, and then also the whether it's decentralized or not, right? So there can obviously be this little aspect of centralization, especially to get it off the ground.
Hmm.
But decentralization is probably the most important way to choose a good project from a bad one. Like if you look at crypto.com, if you look at all these other projects, there's always, or Ripple even, there's always shady shit going on in the background. It's just
Hmm.
every single time, you know?
Hmm. Absolutely. And then like, so the 5% rewards that people get for their pool, is that there is a max supply of Cardano, correct? Where does that
Yeah.
come from? Where is it printed out of? Do you think that percent will ever change in the future?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I've really been trying to teach more people about this. So that percent comes from the reserves, right? So right now in circulation, there's about 31 billion ADA. The max amount of ADA that there will ever will be is around 45 billion ADA, right? So I said 31, not 41, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, cool. So the rewards come from that big reward reserve. And what the way it works is some's paid to stakers, or really all of it's paid to stakers, and the pool doesn't have any interaction with that. You know, I don't say, oh, okay, Rand can get paid. I essentially operate the pool. All of the money goes to delegates, and then my fees are taken. So we're all paid at the same time, right? So it's coming from this reward reserves. Another thing that happens that a lot of people don't know is I think it's right now it's 20%. 20% of those rewards actually goes to the treasury, right? To fund new projects, to fund further development, right? So
Ah,
that's really fucking cool because guess how much money there is in there right now, Rand? Like like $220 million.
oh my gosh.
Just a chunk, just an ADA like an ADA treasury with $220 million just waiting for Rand to submit a proposal for Rand coin. You know,
That was gonna be my next question. So how do you and I like, and I don't know if you did submit during the last one, like I heard Charles even saying that a lot of the submissions to receive some of those funds to help, grow Cardano and the ecosystem and like spread the word was for podcasts and YouTube podcasts. Did you submit last time? Do you plan on submitting in the future? And where would somebody even go to submit?
so it's cardano.ideascale.com. They're using a centralized service to do this right now to get everything off the ground. But essentially, what you do is you get on there, you submit an idea, but it's kind of complicated and it's very involved, right? You have to really be involved with the process to participate in it. You have to know the dates, you have to know when shit's happening. You have even if you're an ADA holder, right? Because each ADA token not only is it hash power, as you mentioned earlier, it's also a vote, right? So you have to register to vote first, and then you have to use your ADA to vote. So it's a really involved process, right? But it needs to be, if you think about it, because I mean, you don't want people to know what the hell they're doing, voting on these projects and these proposals and stuff. But that's how you do it. Is you go to cardano.ideascale.com. And there's something else I wanted to say about the reward reserves that was important. Oh, okay. So we touched on if what would happen to that percentage over time. Is it sustainable? So it is. So but the way it works is obviously it goes down. But what they did is they modeled it by radioactive decay, right? So instead of having Bitcoin, where you just have this big halving event where all of a sudden we're all making half the amount, it slowly goes down over time. But those transaction fees, what a lot of people don't know is when you pay 0.18 ADA, 0.2 ADA to send it to me as a donation or whatever, it that is paid to everyone. It's not just paid to the people that operate nodes, it's paid to all stakers. So that's how it's sustainable, right? As the network grows, as more network usage happens, the transaction fees increase. So what's supposed to happen? I know I'm inverted. So what's supposed to happen is the rewards are supposed to go down over time, but then transaction fees are supposed to pick up, right? To level out the return to delegates. So that's
Absolutely.
what's supposed to incentivize you to stake because when you choose a node to stake, that's your participation in decentralizing the network. It's one of the most important things, right? That's why so much money and so much rewards goes to people for doing that because you're saying that I trust this guy, right? I trust this node to process the transactions for my stake in the network. It's a very important thing. And that's why people shouldn't be just doing it to chase returns, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the fees, and like the fees are a really small part of their reward.
It's negligible, man. It really
Yeah.
is.
And people are like hopping from pool to pool, and I don't know if that affects rewards or anything hopping around, but I don't think it's that smart. Like I feel like you just kind of want to select a pool and let it ride, and then if you do want to split it off in the future, that's what the multi-pool delegation will be for. when all
Yeah.
that comes. You know what I mean?
Dude, Schmonty said, "Be careful with hard wallets and girlfriends," or I want to hear that story.
Seriously. Oh man, I have a Bitcoin hard wallet that I locked up over here. I've lost the password and all that. I don't think there was anything ever. I'm pretty sure I transferred everything off of it. But like, it was from 2017 and everything got hot again this year. And I found the hard wallet and I'm like, I don't remember the password that I did to this thing. It was like 420, 710, something. It was like some stupid.
It's because you were high when you did it, man. That's why.
Exactly. I'm like, hopefully there's nothing in that thing because I locked it up trying to try.
Yeah, you can't be moving crypto around when you're high, man. That's
Oh my god, horrible idea, horrible idea. So, do you hold Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies, Ethereum or anything like that?
So I've been branching out a little bit, but for the past 3 years, no. Every dollar I've ever made, every dollar that I've ever put into cryptocurrency has all gone into ADA, and I know that's insane. It's absolutely crazy. I had a little bit of stocks, but nothing compared to ADA. And finally, now that ADA is doing well, I always had a goal, and it was a Satoshi value of 2,000 Satoshis. I was like, once I get to 2,000 Satoshis, I'm going to pick up a little bit of Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
And it took a long time. It did. It. I watched 600 Satoshis, 500, 600, 700, 1,000, 12, 600 again for so long. But actually, just recently, this month, we finally hit that 2,000 Satoshi goal. And I was like, fuck yeah, I can finally get my first Bitcoin.
That's awesome, man. So you're starting to pick up Bitcoin. Do you mess with any of the
Mm-hmm.
other stuff like
I have a little bit of ETH because I saw that it was touching the all-time high, and I was like, I watched Bitcoin do it. Bitcoin just like tiptoes the all-time high. It's like when it was at 20,000, and it just tiptoed it, and then eventually it went
yeah.
and broke out. So I was watching ETH do the same thing at 1,400. I was watching it go up and touch it, go up and touch it, and then it fell back down to 1,000, and I was like, I should have bought some, but I didn't have time or I wasn't home or something. So I ended up buying it at 11, and then it went back up and kept touching it again, and then it broke out and then went to I think it's at like 1,800 now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be selling probably 1,800 or 2,000. So I just picked that up as a little trade. So I don't hold ETH. I'm not going to hold ETH, but I am going to hold Bitcoin and Cardano. Another thing I've been looking at is AGI. I really like Ben Gortzel. I actually just had him on my podcast with Singularity Net. I mean, that dude blows my mind. I think the stuff that he's doing over there can actually have an impact on the world. If enough people hear about it, enough people actually participate in it, and it just kind of has that like Cardano fuzzy feeling in my tummy when I think about it. So I'm probably going to be getting into that because they're moving over to Cardano now, which I was so excited for, man. So excited.
Yeah, dude,
But
the stuff he's doing with AI is like amazing, and I can't wait for your podcast to come out on that. I will definitely be listening immediately when I'm off
mhm.
stream. But and then like I guess going into that and talking about a little bit of Ethereum, like what is the issue with Ethereum fees and how has Cardano solved the scalability? That was one of the questions we got this morning from some people. Like Cardano, once they scale, they're just gonna have the same issue. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so.
So the fees are actually a parameter that you set, right? So right now the fees are like we have a min fee of anywhere from like 0.15 to 0.22.
Mm-hmm.
So people actually vote on what those fees are, right? Whereas with Ethereum, the way it works is it's a race to the top. I want to say it's like 12 to 20 transactions per second on Ethereum. So if there's only 12 to 20 transactions per second and there's 100,000 people that all want to get a transaction through, then they start to think, well, I'm rich. I want to be first, right? I'm making so much money off this trade. It has to be now that I'll just raise the price $1 from what everyone else is charging, so my transaction can get in on the first block. Because the way the miners work is we'll take who's ever paying the most, we're going to put that in there first, right? So there's this race to the top scenario, right? More people want to use the system, which I mean, it's suffering from its own success. More people want to use the system. More people have more money from the system. So they're willing to pay more per transaction to get their price through first, right? And then the higher it goes, the more likelihood of hey man, I can't afford $50 per transaction. I'm only going to do 10. Oh, well, my transaction is now stuck and no miner will ever do it. Right. So Cardano, the first layer is the fact that we can change it. Right. And then the second layer is, and this is what we don't have yet. Right. So the fee, that's something we can change, something we can work on now. But what they're right about, what they just said is, if Cardano scales in the current way that it is now, it'll also have issues. And it's because of the TPS, it's the transactions per second. But that's what's coming later this year with Basho, is increasing the TPS and increasing the scalability with Hydra and Basho. And so, I mean, he's right in a way, but he's only half right. You know what I mean?
Got you. That makes a lot of sense, man. I've learned a lot during this podcast so far. And we actually, wow, we just hit noon. That's crazy. I've learned
It
a
went pretty
ton.
quick, man.
That
It went
went
pretty
way too
quick.
quick. I'm just thinking to myself, I've learned so much already that I didn't know, and it's going to help me explain so much. So I really appreciate it. You got any questions for me as we
Um,
wrap up?
I want to read. I want to read. So he said, me and this girl Brandy had some BTC back in 2012. Went to prison till 2018 and got out. Oh, so yeah, she definitely took that while you were gone, man.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
Remember the keys, but I don't know where the computer or hard drive is. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm
What?
sorry to hear that story, though, man.
Oh wow, yeah, sorry to read that. That's awful. One day hopefully you find the hard drive or whatever it may be. Yeah, but you got any questions or anything?
So you do a lot of poker over here, man?
A ton of poker. I've been playing poker for probably 15 years now or so. No, about 10 years now or so.
Dude, you should
Yeah,
have me
it's
on another time. We can play some poker, man.
I'm
I,
absolutely in. We have home games on America's Card Room online that I can set up that are private passworded for like all of us to play and we can
yeah,
do all that. I took some coaching.
I've always loved poker, man. I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have any coaching. I haven't like studied it or anything, but no, when I was 12 years old, my dad used to just take me over to like his friends' houses, and he would buy me in, and I would just play, And I've always just played since then, and I've always loved playing poker. I really do.
That's awesome. We'll have to get a friendly game going, or maybe when you come down to Cincy, we'll
That'd
have
be
to.
fun as hell, man. Yeah, and you could teach me some shit, man, because usually the people I play with, I always take their money because what they do is they just get so drunk, and then I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting there like maybe I'll have a drink or two, but then I'll just be like kind of watching them, and really thinking about shit. And then they're just getting so drunk, they're just fucking throwing chips out there, and it's just funny, man.
And
That was
it's
always my strat at like 15 and 16 and 17. I was like, dude, all these people just get so drunk, I could just take their money, man.
you just wait for a good hand and let them bluff into you all drunk,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's where I kind of found my love for the game, and back in the day, online poker was a lot easier. There weren't like so many places to get coaching and information out there. And
Mhm.
I just fell in love with it, and I hit just as a recreational player for like $15,000 one day. And I
That's
was living,
awesome, man.
yeah, it was like 2009. It was right as Obama became president, and he signed that accord that said if cannabis is legal in your state, the feds won't come after you. And I won that 15 grand like a couple months later, and I grabbed two of my buddies from high school, and we moved to Colorado to go get legal and work in the industry. And that's kind of how I kind of came up. I was going to the University of Cincinnati. I was paying all cash for my classes and stuff like that, and I actually got like I got suspended on academic probation because I got sick, and a buddy of mine from high school who's in the same class told me the wrong time for our exam, and we both showed up after the exam. And I'm like, I'm not an A+ student. I'm a smart kid. I don't do homework because once I learn something, I'm not doing your homework. You know what I mean? Like if I don't need to do it, I'm not doing it. So I'm like a C
Mhm.
student. I just get by. I'm really good at testing, and the professor was like, "No, you don't do the
Yeah, yeah,
homework."
me too, man. I graduated high school with a 2.6, so
Exactly. He's like, you don't do the homework, I'm not letting you retake, and they put me on academic probation, and that's what really, really made me mad because I'm like, I'm over here busting my ass paying in cash to go to college. Like, I don't really think that should be the way this works, you know what I mean? And that's what made me like, all right, I'm gonna go do what I want to do. Kind of similar to what you did. Like, I'm done here. This is a game. This is like a rigged game almost, and it's not getting me the networking I want. Like all my friends around me, we're just like partying so hard. And so we went out to Colorado, and I started as like a trimmer for a dispensary and growing and selling to dispensaries. I ended up managing another dispensary, and we won the Cannabis Cup in 2011, the first American Cannabis Cup, back when it actually had prestige. Nowadays they just hand them out like water. You go to a cannabis cup, there'll be a guy with a booth that's like 15 times cup winner, and it's like, dude, it hasn't even been in here for 15 years in America. Like, how do you have 15 awards? And they just do them, and high times. High times went the profitability route, and they just do cannabis. There's two in California every year. There's one in Colorado. Oregon gets one. Seattle gets one. So I kind of
Yeah.
stopped doing that stuff, and it's also kind of dumb. It's like, all right, once we have good product, we've got good branding, things are running. We don't need to pay people to tell us our product's good. We have plenty of customers that tell us that every single day. You know what I mean?
So
So
how'd you end up coming back to Ohio, man? That's such an awesome story where you moved to Colorado where weed's legal and then you end up living in an illegal state.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I came home. Actually, a friend of mine from high school, a friend of a friend, his father is just a wealthy investor here in Cincinnati. And they had always got their cannabis from me. They had looked up to me, like his son had looked up to me as like a source for cannabis, and knowing quality. And his father had invested in a lighting company called Next Light, and it's an LED lighting company for cannabis growth. And so I got called back and put on salary and was the first employee of that company. It's still running today. Some of the naivety of myself being young is I didn't put things on paper with that owner right away. Like I kind of took the word of we'll take care of you if things work out. Well, of course, 2, 3 years in, as things work out, and I'm like, where's my equity? I managed a band back in the day. I hired a lot of my friends, or former friends still work there, like all the employees were people I knew. Built the thing up, all the marketing, traveled over 2 weeks a month. Out of every month I was on the road, and I was getting paid good. I got six figures for what I was doing, but it was stressful and I didn't like being, no
Well, and there's
equity.
also high risk, so you took that high risk to get the fucking equity.
Exactly. And then when that all fell apart, I kind of on my own, I tried to do, out of spite almost, I tried to hire some engineers with a little bit of money I had and do my own thing. But I learned A, too late, you know what I mean? Like too late to the game, and there were other competitors. And B, I didn't have enough capital. Like I raised $100,000 and we did good. We made and sold lights. We have a working CBD business that it's turned into that is profitable, although I probably will shut it down because the stream is just taking off so well. I don't have the time for it anymore. And I don't have the
Hmm.
good employees around to like
Yeah,
keep it
you're
running good.
killing it over here, man.
I
Like I
mean,
saw I saw us get up to 105 people on Twitch. That's some shit, man.
dude, we're cranking. And dude, it's been amazing with the whole GameStop and like
Because
all
YouTube
that.
numbers are inflated. You know what I
Are
mean?
they? You think so?
A little bit. Okay, put it this way, right? If they're not inflated, right? I mean, I have like let's say I get 300 people, like the
Yeah.
chat will be going 3 times as fast, but
Mm-hmm.
the viewers are easier to get and you get less per viewer, I would say,
Yeah.
right? During
Yeah.
live streams, right?
Yeah. The way I look at it is, and I'm going to cut back, like today, I'm not live on YouTube, and I think I'm going to stop going live on YouTube. I've grabbed a friend of mine who I think we're going to work together on doing more of like clips and post production stuff for YouTube. The way I look
Mm-hmm.
at it is like Twitch is a great place to go live. They help you like monetize the situation to where you're not like asking for money from your viewers. People can easily, if they have Amazon Prime, can gift a sub to you and Amazon pays you. They can watch ads to get bits, to tip you that they didn't have to actually pay for. You know what I mean? And I think that's really important. And I think the community, I think also on Twitch, the community of live streaming and people wanting to watch is a little more there than on YouTube, of like
For
wanting to
sure.
watch like long drawn out multi-hour streams. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think like the best way is for me to live stream on Twitch and then cut up post production clips like this, like our conversation here will go up on YouTube this evening for anybody that missed it on Twitch. And I feel like it's like just kind of growing your general brand. And I've looked into like Theta TV. Have you looked into Theta TV?
I haven't. I've looked into Libri, but I've heard about Theta.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what's Libri? What is that?
It's more of a YouTube style one. No live streaming, but it's essentially a decentralized YouTube. It's all right. It's all
Huh?
right. I put all my videos on there because
Oh, you do.
I do because it's simple. You essentially set up an API and they do the rest for you. So you set it up once, and then they just pay you in cryptocurrency for views and tips. So
Oh
I
wow.
never touch it, and then I get on there, and now like I just have like $500 sitting on there from the past 6 months, which is pretty cool. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've noticed you do like you do a lot of the live streams on YouTube. Like your AMAs on Monday are awesome to
dude,
hop in.
that's the funnest thing I do, man. Like it's really so fun to do an AMA. You know, like I love the live streaming aspect, and I realize I'm doing it in the wrong place, right?
Yeah.
Because like they
Not
definitely
necessarily though. There are
it
big
helps
streams on YouTube, you know?
it helps my channel. It really does. But I just know that it would do better on Twitch because what I want to do is more live streams. I
Hmm.
just love live streaming. It's just my thing. You know, I like doing the videos. It's cool. But live streaming is where I have the most fun, you know, me personally. So, but
Same
I
here,
can't
man.
do too many. I can't because YouTube has this real finicky algorithm where you can only post once per day and you have to give enough time between each video. And I can't go live if I just uploaded a video because it'll take it out of the algorithm. There's just so much finicky shit with YouTube that really limits the live streaming stuff that I want to do. You know
I
what I mean?
didn't know that. Any tips for like a small person like myself that wants to start putting like only do one video a day? Sounds like
Yeah, yeah, no more than one video a day for sure. Sometimes every other day is good. You know, you just kind of have to interact with the algorithm yourself, see what people like the most. You know, the titling and the thumbnails is the most important. The titling and the thumbnails is even more important than the content in the video. I mean, if you've been watching my content, you know how I say I don't do price predictions. But what
hmm
I've been doing is making my titles and my thumbnails clickbaity as fuck to bring people in, and then it's the same content that I've always had. And I
right.
realized that if I literally just change the title and the thumbnail, I'll get 3 times the amount of views. And then when they come there, I say, yeah, you know, I don't do price predictions. You know, this is what I do. I do education shit, and that's it.
And
Then
they stick
a
around.
lot of those people stick around.
Yeah, because they'd rather hear that anyway. Like I'm one to skip. Like if I'm looking for Cardano information on YouTube, I'm skipping every single guy that's got a chart up, and or like the titles of like ADA to $32. I've been seeing a lot lately. ADA to $32, and it's just like my gosh, this is
Yeah.
like a little
See,
crazy. You know what I
I
mean?
haven't done them that crazy. If you watch my titles, it's like um, literally we were at 90 cents and my title was eight is gonna hit $1. That's me getting a little risky.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's up, man. Well, dude, this has been awesome. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hear your phone ringing back there, so if you gotta go, we can. But man, this has been awesome, and I really
It's
appreciate you coming
yeah, I
on.
had a lot of fun, man. I would love to come on again. We can do some poker shit, play some poker, talk crypto, talk anything else, man.
Absolutely. Maybe we talked you into firing up a Twitch channel one day.
Hell yeah, I have one, man. I just posted. If you guys want, I posted a link to my YouTube channel in chat and on my
Yes.
Twitch channel.
Yes, that's before you go. We're that the best places for people to find you, interact with you, get your information. The YouTube channel, youtube.com/Big Pey. Where else? Where else are
Yeah.
people finding you?
Another place, I have a Discord server. I'm sure you Twitch users are used to Discord servers, but that's really where I am the most. You know, I reply to everyone's questions, try to help anybody out with anything Cardano, anything cryptocurrency, man. I really do try to take a big portion of my day to just help people with this shit, man. Because I mean, dude, this is so cool, right? I mean, I was doing the YouTube channel stuff, and I was making like $200 a month for it, you know. And then now with the Bloom stuff, I'm making enough money to where I can actually give back and just spend all of my time doing this stuff and providing value to people. So if you guys have any questions about the ADA shit, about the cryptocurrency shit, then just feel free to hop in the Discord server and I'll help you out, or one of the moderators will help you out too. So are you still
Uh,
there, Rand?
I am here, but I think the Discord or the OBS just went down with Twitch, and it's reconnecting right now. But I have it all on recording.
Yeah, because my stuff was, yeah, I still hear you, but my,
Yeah, it says reconnecting in 7. So it literally just went down at the end of your talk there. It normally reconnects right away, but that is one of reconnected successful. Refresh. Gotta put refresh in chat so
oh,
people
is that what
know.
you have to do? Refresh?
Yeah, sometimes you do. OBS cut out. Every now and then, it's unfortunate we did that, but every now and then OBS will cut out randomly going into Twitch like that for
I like
whatever server reason.
I like the gamifying of Twitch, like how there's all these little points and you get bits for watching advertisements. I like all the gamification.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, we have a great time. In fact, once we hop off here, I'm going to do a marbles giveaway that I do after every contest where I give away $5.50 on America's Card Room. All you have to do, type exclamation mark play in the chat once we hop off here, and we'll
Mhm.
do a little marbles race where everybody can watch their marble move around, and whoever wins, I give $5.50 to on America's Card Room because they're a sponsor of the stream. So.
That's awesome, man. So how long do you normally do these for?
Dude, I go live at I try to go live 6, 7 in the morning, no later than 7:30 in the morning for pre-market news and stock. And I also am trying to hold down just being that early morning place to hang out pre-market.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to go all the way till 4 p.m. market close. I mean, I don't always. Some like today, I've got some stuff I got to get done after we hop off. I've got some meetings as well. But the more it grows, the more revenue we come in, the
So
more the
you've been on
community
here since
grows.
6 in the morning.
7:30 this morning is when I
Dude,
started.
I love that, man. That's so sick, man. That's so cool. That's what I would like, because that's another thing about YouTube, man. I would like to go longer than an hour 30 minutes, but past that, you start to hurt the viewers. It's funny, man.
I've
It's
noticed that. Like my YouTube videos when I live stream there, the algorithm doesn't even like if I'm not live, nobody's ever going to watch those videos again because YouTube won't recommend them.
exactly. But yeah, man, I had a lot of fun. I would love to come on again, dude. We should definitely just reach out to me and we can figure something out.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I appreciate it, Pay. Everybody check out his YouTube channel and we'll do this again.
Cool. But I appreciate you guys all watching this today, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your week.
Hell yeah,
See you
brother.
guys.
See you, man. That was a good fucking time. I hope we all learned a lot. Was that a good one? That was an excellent interview, I feel like, right? That was probably an excellent interview. We got the game of Mibs, dude. Big Pay followed us on Twitch. That's what's up. You guys give Big Pay the follow. I mean, I loved it. That's what's up. Everybody follow Big Pay on Twitch. Maybe you guys will get him to go live if he gets enough follows today. He might go live on Twitch one day. We're gonna definitely have to do that again. Exclamation mark play in the chat for the game of Mibs, dude. For the hot, spicy game of Mibs. All right. This is for $5.50 on America's Card Room. You must be signed up for America's Card Room to win. You don't have to sign up using my code or link, but that'd be fucking great because they're a sponsor of the stream and that would really help out. That would really, 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 really help out. You guys ready? I'm going to fire it off here. We got 99 viewers. There's 20 people signed up for the MIBs. What are you guys doing? I'm about to hit start. You have 5, 4. Good interview. Did you like that one handle? Did we cover a lot of your stuff? Although we didn't. Ooh, I forgot to ask your Bitcoin King question. Here we go. I'm hitting start. If you didn't get in by now, that's on you. This is for $5.50, you lazy. Come on. Step it up. Then we're going to smoke a bowl. Then I'm going to lunch. Oh.